Hey everyone, the Invincible Season 3 finale was a breathtaking spectacle of brutality, emotion, and high-stakes action. Following the catastrophic events of the Invincible War, Mark Grayson was left physically shattered and mentally drained. But his nightmare was far from over. Without even a moment to recover, he was thrown into the most harrowing battle of his life, a battle against the monstrous Viltrumite warrior, Conquest. What followed was a fight unlike any seen before, pushing Mark beyond his limits and redefining what it truly meant to survive. In this breakdown, we'll dissect every bone-crushing moment of the battle, analyze its ramifications on Mark's future, and explore the shocking implications for Season 4. And of course, we'll take a deep dive into the most jaw-dropping scenes, including the horrifying emergence of Beast, the demonic Hell Demon, and the cryptic lingering threat that looms over Earth's future. Let's get into it. But first, if you are new, hit that subscribe button for more. Stand ready for my arrival, worm. Those 6 words sent shockwaves through the Invincible fan base. Conquest had been teased before, but his arrival was more terrifying than anyone could have imagined. As he descended onto the battlefield, the destruction left in his wake was immediate and devastating. Mark, already battered and barely standing after facing an army of multiversal Invincibles, was in no condition to take on a warrior of this caliber. And Conquest knew it. He didn't see Mark as an adversary, he saw him as prey, something to be toyed with before being utterly destroyed. This wasn't just another Viltrumite. Conquest was a seasoned executioner who had been waiting for this opportunity, to break Mark completely, to push him to his breaking point, and to revel in his suffering. From the very start, Conquest established his dominance. He allowed Mark to land a few punches, not out of necessity, but out of sheer amusement. He wanted to see how much fight Mark had left, but once he had his answer, the real battle began. And it was utterly one-sided. Conquest's attacks were like nuclear detonations. Every punch crushed bones, split flesh, and sent shockwaves that leveled buildings. The battle sprawled across multiple locations, each more devastated than the last, leaving behind a path of sheer annihilation. Mark fought with every ounce of strength he had left, but it wasn't enough. Conquest was faster, stronger, and infinitely more experienced. Every time Mark tried to stand, he was knocked down harder. Every moment of defiance was met with merciless punishment. Watching from the sidelines, Mark's younger brother Oliver was unable to bear the sight any longer. Torn between fear and desperation, he made a reckless decision. He flew into the fray to aid his brother. Debbie, their mother, tried to stop him, but she was paralyzed by the sheer horror of the situation. She had already nearly lost one son. Now she was about to watch another throw himself into the jaws of death. But Oliver's intervention was a mistake. Conquest barely acknowledged him before grabbing him by the throat and slamming him into the ground with such force that the earth itself cracked beneath him. Oliver was left motionless, his fate uncertain. And that was exactly what Conquest wanted. He knew that by hurting Oliver he would unleash something deep inside Mark, something raw, something primal, and it worked. But even fueled by blind rage, Mark was still outmatched. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Adam Eve entered the battle. Already grievously injured from the Invincible War, Eve pushed herself past her breaking point using her abilities to slow Conquest down. She even attempted to heal Mark's broken body in the midst of the fight, but her energy was fading fast. And Conquest, ever the predator, saw his opportunity. With 2 devastating blows, he ended her. The first punch tore half her face apart. The second punch straight through her torso. Eve fell, her body broken, lifeless. Mark could only scream in horror, unable to do anything but watch. For a moment it seemed like Eve was truly gone. But then, something remarkable, something terrifying happened. Since childhood, Eve had been subconsciously limiting herself, unable to manipulate human biology on a fundamental level. But in this near-death state, something shifted. Those mental blocks shattered, and then, so did reality itself. Her body began reconstructing itself at a molecular level, defying death in a way no one could have predicted. It was a stunning display of power, but one that came with ominous implications. What had she become? Had she unlocked a new stage of her abilities, or had she turned into something else entirely? The sight of Eve's resurrection ignited one last surge of defiance in Mark. He had nothing left. His arms were shattered, his legs barely able to support him, but he had one weapon left, his head. In a final desperate act, Mark lunged at Conquest and began bashing his forehead into his skull, over and over again. The sickening crunch of bone meeting bone echoed through the battlefield, again, and again, and again, until finally, Conquest stopped moving. It wasn't a victory, it was survival, and it was horrifying, but even then, Mark knew it wasn't over. He turned to Cecil and demanded one thing: burn Conquest's body. Viltrumites were known for their regenerative abilities, and Mark refused to take any chances. Cecil agreed, or so it seemed. But the final shot of the episode, lingering ominously on the supposed remains of Conquest, suggested otherwise. What does this mean for Season 4? Was Conquest truly destroyed, or is he lying in wait, biding his time for a more terrifying return? And what about Eve? Has she become something beyond human, beyond even a Viltrumite? One thing is certain, this battle changed Mark forever. He survived, but at what cost? And with new threats emerging on the horizon, including the enigmatic beetle beast and the hellish presence of Hell Demon, the war is far from over. The Viltrumite war is coming, and Mark is nowhere near ready. And that's it for today. And if enjoyed, please hit that like button and subscribe for more